Let's begin with your overall view of the two tapes.
Well, when you listen to the tape very well, you realize that the CBN governor was trying to tell Nigerians that nothing of such happened at the CBN. Actually, he's in charge. Whatever he tells us is what we may believe, underline. That is what we may believe because that was what he was telling us. But if actually it wasn't like that, it's going to seriously have a negative effect on Nigerian economy, growth per se. Because, all the money we are talking about here belongs to the federal government, and by the time you start stealing the money or keeping the money, or even, if you like, you can even eat the money, it's going to have adverse effect on other real sectors of the economy. So because they will not have that chance of getting the loan out from the central bank again. Because the money that is supposed to have been released to them must have been stolen or been hidden. So at the end, the burden will now be shifted back to the citizen. It affects the market women, it will affect the civil servants, it's going to affect the artisans. So it goes around like that. It's like circulation of blood. So if blood is not circulating and it just remains in a place, the other place will be paralyzed.
Yes. Do you feel, as an economist, and having listened to the tape and read the press statement, do you feel that the explanation of the press statement is a reflection of the tape? At all.
I will tell you, at all. As a leader, CBN governor for that matter, thinking that he thought so amount is there without doing proper investigation. What are you now heading? What can you now prove? How can you prove to us that you are working as expected? Because these are the things. It's an open policy. By the time the CBN governor look at the balance sheet, before you present it, you need to check it very well. He's a banker and you understand all the terrains of banking system. So why is he now telling us that he thought, or I believe? But look there's a contradictory statement there. What he was saying is different from what the special advisor is saying. And look at the press release too. There's some covering up there. If investigation should be put in place, you will see that a lot of heads will roll in CBN there. A lot of heads will roll, because they are covering up certain things. This covering up will not help the economy. That is what the economists are fighting for. They are covering up for their own, let me call it a negligence. I can call it negligence on the part of the CBN governor. Because at least he's supposed to know all these things. He worked in bank before becoming the CBN governor. So by telling us all these things, and we believe, personally on my own, I will tell you, what the CBN governor is saying is not right. There is something fishy that they are trying to cover up. But if they can go for serious forensic investigation, you will realize that something is happening at the CBN there. Though the federal government or the president has even allowed him to go for the second time, fine. But I believe the Saturday that will be good. It is from Friday, you will know. It tells us what is going to happen in the next 4 years.
Do you feel the finance ministry might be complicit, considering that they have not released a statement 4 to 5 days after this tape came out?
Well, the Ministry of Finance is trying to play safe. They are trying to play safe. Everybody is trying to cover up its own area of negligence. And if the Minister of Finance should go ahead and trying to assist in doing such thing, later on it can be exposed and it's going to affect the Minister of Finance. And the Minister of Finance is very careful at this because it's an open wound now to the whole country. By the time you cover it, Nigeria will still be talking about it. That please, we want to know the final investigation as regards the CBN and that of the Minister of Finance. And that is the reason why they have never said anything for the past 4 days when something has been released. I know some work will be going underground. And I know the CBN governor will not be asleep. There wouldn't be sleep for him. until they get to the root of this thing. If it's not implicated anyway, but if they do investigation and still come back there again, and it is implicated, I don't see the reason why it should be allowed to go for the second term. It means it's not competent.
Should the CBN have been looking for ways of covering up a bad loan, or what they claim would have been and erroneously described as a bad loan by the state?
They can do that if it is not approved initially.
But this was approved.
By who?
By the NEC. According the bailout was approved according to the press statement. And
I read it on paper this morning. I even saw the figure there. Paper this morning. About 36 states, including the FCT.
Yes. Well, they got where 650 billion was approved. It's 2-year loan term, and which means that between 2015 and 20, that payment should have started coming in as at 2018.
Yes.
But the CBN had not published any statement to say this is how much the states have paid back as loans. So do you think that it would have been in order for them to have within their balance sheet been trying to plug some of the loan gaps, knowing that they could have actually collected that same money from the FAC allocation, as the press statement itself noted?
There is a time frame for everything. Even though you loan them loan, you give them money for loan, and at the end there is a time frame for them to release the loan back to them. Has that one been done? If that one has been done, when was it? How many states has done that? Then that is when the CBN cannot use that one as justification. But it was not revealed. They never tell us whether they return the loan and when do they return the loan and how much do they return. So it's going to affect CBN directly. I'm telling you, it's going to affect them. And that is the reason why they are trying to look from cover up. I tag that one as negligence. That is the reason why they said some money has been stolen from CBN. Not that Emefiele stole money or the deputy CBN stole money, but when money is stolen anywhere, the head of that section will be suspected. So he needs to look for where the money is. And that is why the CBN is running helter-skelter now. Nigeria will not keep silent on this issue. With anything that has to do with money, Nigeria will never keep silent at all. It has been discussed again this morning in a series of radio stations as regards this CBN issue with the Minister of Finance. And the presidency keeps silence. They want to see what is going on before they come out. So the CBN needs to buckle up very well. All this loan given to them initially has not been repaid back. Many of the states have never returned the money back. And in actual fact, when they were given the bailout, do they use the bailout for what it is supposed to be used for? Some civil servants are still crying. They never gave them their salary, and it was because of this they gave them the bailout. Do they pay them their salary? Who monitor it? If you give out loan, you apply for loan for certain things, then it needs to be monitored to know that the loan you collected was used for that purpose. Was it used for the purpose? No. And you still want to give them another loan. Then what will not happen to the civil servants, the market women, the artisans? That is where CBN is the apex bank, the bankers bank, and they need to monitor. And that's why they have monitoring unit. Do they do what is the work of their monitoring unit? The monitoring team, what do they do? So that is the reason why I said they need to be investigated.
So, sir, if you look at the prudential guidelines for the CBN in giving loans, we know that the CBN have been giving loans. I remember in 2013 2014, they gave loans to the airlines. They gave loans to the discos, not the discos, now the electricity industry as a whole when it came into force in 2013. And do you think there's clarity in terms of, and then they also gave loans again, another assurance guarantee, 701 billion assurance, payment assurance guarantee to the electricity sector as well. So what happens when these loans fail? Do you feel that the CBN has adequate provision to back these loans? And I should also point out that, in the tape, we noticed that there was no discussion of bad loans.
Yes.
So what do you make of this? Number one, does the CBN actually have effective provision for its loans? And don't you feel it is do you feel that the press statement was like a complete cover-up, seeing as there was no mention of loans in the tape?
You see, let me start from the second question. In as much there is no mention of that the loan in the tape, there is nothing we can say than saying it's a cover-up. Because it's part of what we are trying to investigate. It's part of what the CBN is supposed to tell us, but it was not there. So why do you remove it? Why do they remove it? So they must tell Nigerians the reason why they removed that one. It's supposed to be there. It's part of what we are discussing, and it's part of what we are looking for. So definitely something is wrong somewhere. They should check out that area. Then the effectiveness of the CBN when it gives out loan, that is the reason why they have the monitoring team. And CBN is an autonomous on its own. They're supposed to have machinery on getting out this thing. Though the machineries are there, but they didn't make use of the machinery. They never make use of the machinery.
So, sir,
because some of them will be fearing because the power that be that there, the loan given out to this disco, or what do they call them? Who owns the disco? Who bought them? Who are those in charge? So by the time you want to ask them to be bringing out the loan, the Dababi will call you from above. Then the CBN, if you are not careful, we may not use it for the second time. And he want to save his job. What do you expect the man to do? He will keep silent. That is Nigerian for you. But it's killing our economy.
So, sir, finally, what would you say about how the media picked up or reacted to the scoop? Do you think the media, have taken this up headlong and have mapped out like a plan or a way or an action to actually investigate this properly?
Well, the media really tried, but what I used to say, when it comes to issue that has to do with the federal government, most especially the area of financial institution, sometimes they turn media to be truthless bulldog that can only bark but that can never bite, because the bad that be are there. We are talking of money here. We are talking of financial institution, the highest one in Nigeria for that matter. If it's not fully, unless the media collaborate and they form one voice, that is when they can defeat. If that one is not done, I'm telling you, before you know it, the case will be cleared at the National Assembly, and they will clear them with clean sheet. You can go away, and that ends it all. It's as if you take your case from Appeal Court to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court tells you that you are not the owner of that land. That ends the case. Even though you use ways to get the land, you become the owner. That is the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. So the same thing applies to these financial institutions in Nigeria. So the media needs to be collaborating, and they must have one voice. When you are facing one thing at the same time, and we all have the same goal and a target, then we will defeat. But it all depends. If you report negatively and something is positive, one is going to lose. But if you report positively and something is negative, you are going to win. But with this one, I am telling you categorically, there is a cover-up there. It needs to be investigated.